Sure. So I am born and brought up in Delhi, and I've finished my schooling from Delhi and Mumbai, the cities in India.
Hmm?
Currently, having worked for about more than 5 years, I'm working with Ernst and Young in
Hmm?
a project management role within the media and entertainment business for business consulting. So I'm within the consulting domain, and I'm helping out clients within media, sports, and entertainment for state-of-the-art solutions that they require currently for their respective business problems and business solutions.
Okay, very good. So tell me, Dhruv, what brought you to to um, to do a master's in Spain?
So for me, I think the decision to do, since I've been working in sports for about 5 years, I wanted to continue working within European sport or sports that are dominated within Europe primarily. So for that matter, tennis or football are sports which I have been working in, and it's something I wanted to continue doing, but at a much larger scale with management knowledge, with a knowledge of exactly how the geography of Europe and Spain in particular works for sports business. And I think it was to tie that up with various other industries, may that be through brands, may that be through sponsorships or associations. I think it was key for me to get a management level knowledge. And for that, I have picked Spain as the country where I would like to go for my MBA.
Okay, um, very good. Alors, it's very good. So you studied the program last September, okay? So what are your first impression after 4 months spent in Europe and at ESADE?
So I'm currently yet to start my term at ESADE. It's going to start in August or September of this year, 2023.
You have not
But
started yet. Have you started?
no, no, we've not started yet. We will be starting in 2023, August.
Okay. So for a time you have
Yeah.
applied, you have been accepted, and you're
Yes,
waiting to start. Alors, basically,
correct.
so what has been your contact today with ESADE, Dhruv?
Till date, my contact with them ever since the acceptance came in towards the end of November
Hmm?
2022, I have gotten in touch with their Dean of Admissions, their admissions team in general, a lot of Southeast Asian students who have connected with me and the other way around as well to discuss how our journeys have been to apply to SRD, as well as current students who have been very helpful in reaching out, connecting with me over LinkedIn and helping out with queries that incoming students usually have
Hmm?
for the MBA. And these queries can range from the program structure to the subjects being taught, to the campus life, and also to life in the city of Barcelona, where the campus is located. So all these have been points of communication and contact that I've had with the college,
Hmm?
and they have been very helpful in giving the information at regular intervals, which is still going on till April, when we will receive our final docket that is
Okay.
required for every student.
Okay. And so to which program have you been accepted? It's the MBA, Dhruv? Yeah, it's the
Yes, the
MBA.
MBA program. Yes.
Okay. And so can you tell us more about the structure of the program and what you like in the structure of the program that is offered by ESADE?
I think the digitalized learning approach that SRD has taken up, that they have also been very vocal in communicating to all the students who are interested in applying for the program, is something that also appealed to me. Generally, I think SRD has a very hands-on approach to teaching the MBA program, and that is required in today's world with the students because we're always looking, for a different environment where, in terms of work, things could change very suddenly as it did in 2020 with COVID, and businesses get affected. So to be on your feet, keep on learning and keep on building your profile in a way that you don't somewhere fall out of place in the corporate world after your MBA. So I think SRD will really help give a very a, like a learning experience which has put a lot of change into perspective, and it's going to make us comfortable to that change going forward as well, which will help us in our corporate journeys post the MBA.
Okay, so that's the thing. And to which other program have you applied, Dhruv?
To which other programs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had applied to the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada as well. I had applied to the University of Warwick in the UK. I was so these were two programs that I had actively applied to. Um, I was actually looking at these three schools amongst some other schools as well, which I had taken as my backup. But Spain was at the top of the list for me, along with UK, because having worked in sports and wanting to continue working in sports after the MBA, these were very favorable markets for me. And I was looking at building my profile and building my corporate career within these geographies itself.
Yeah, so I imagine that's what you want to do. So tell me, how different is the sport market in Europe from India? So I know that we like different sports. For India, it's really cricket, a bit of football now, a bit of golf, and you see in Europe it's different sports. So what difference you make between the two sports, and how can the experience that you have in Europe help you when you come back to India in 5-10 years time from now?
So I think the European sports market has been majorly developed across different sports for a much longer period of time than the Indian sports market has been developed. As you rightly mentioned, cricket is the leading sport in India in terms of the sports market, but the amount of growth that one can get apart from a league like IPL is limited. So even though there is a football league in India, it's not a patch as compared to European football leagues. The system in Europe in terms of the football leagues is also so well developed that there are junior teams, there are teams in lower leagues which have been functioning for years, which has not been the system in India just as yet. India is very new to the entire football ecosystem. So I think what I want to learn from Europe is how over the years the longevity of the league has been maintained, the way they have managed to commercialize their league very well, and keep that in different economic scenarios, economic situations, governments changing. There have been a lot of scenarios which have not been favorable to sport, like COVID, and fans were not allowed into the stadium, so revenue got affected. But the leagues have still run. The leagues have still been able to, keep themselves afloat and do well for themselves. And now they're building themselves back up. So I think what I want to learn is the longevity that comes in establishing different sporting leagues, which Europe has done very successfully in the world. And that's something that India, as an ecosystem and a market, can learn from, even outside of cricket.
Very good. And according to you, what are the sports that have the greatest potential in India, outside of course, because so
Outside of cricket,
its
I think
limits, its limits.
yes.
But what,
I think India has great potential because I've worked in this league, so I know it. In volleyball, volleyball's big in Europe. May that be beach volleyball or indoor volleyball, and we have learned from the European league models on how to conduct a volleyball league in India. We've already done it for 2 seasons running. We will be doing it for a 3rd season in 2024 as well. So I think that's a sport which has a lot of potential in India. There are a lot of good players. There are a lot of people interested in watching an engaging sport like volleyball. So I think that's a very big market for India.
okay, so that's there's a big market in India. By the way, how do you
Yes.
see the development of the sport and leisure industry in India? Because of course there's competition, okay, but at the same time leisure around that. What are the advantages of India, and what are the obstacles for you?
The advantage that India has, let me take volleyball's example again. The advantage that India has is a lot of Indians have been playing sports like badminton, volleyball, since their childhood. These have been recreational sports for them. Nobody has thought of making a career out of it just as yet. But I think by establishing leagues such as there is a Prime Volleyball, which I worked for in my previous organization, and establishing such leagues, letting them grow over a period of 3 to 4 years, broadcasting it over TV and digital channels as well, is really going to put it into perspective for a lot of viewers who are going to be watching the league or reading about it or even hearing about it, to see that these are genuine career options for players who are extremely good at the sport. We have the height, we have the athleticism. It's not like India is falling back in that perspective. But in order to, drill it into the minds of the players that yes, this is not just a recreational sport or something that you're interested in, but a genuine career option, is something which India really is currently struggling from. But I think give it another 3 to 4 years, or maybe 5 years at max, and we will have an international level team which would be competing with the likes of Germany, with the likes of Spain, Portugal, within the European market coming out of India.
Basically, yeah, I know your country pretty well. I live in a Connaught Place in Singapore, in
Yeah.
Delhi. The question that I have for you, Dhruv, is that you don't think that there is today a lack of infrastructure in India to really build a strong sport industry? There's clearly a lack
There isn't a
of
lack of
infrastructure in
interest.
terms of swimming pool, stadiums, tennis court, football yards, etc. No, it's a bit missing in India. You don't think so? No?
Correct. I think where the industry is falling behind is the infrastructure. We
Mm.
currently do not have the infrastructure for a lot of people who are interested in the sports to build their careers. This also, like, let's take Europe's example. Even for a school team or a little leagues team in Europe, there is a very good football field or a very good indoor volleyball court that is available for them to train. There are coaches who have played at the international level, and they are willing to coach school kids or even college going students in the sport and make their careers grow. I think that is where India is missing out on every sport apart from cricket, because the ecosystem is not deep enough. The infrastructure is not good enough for the children or the interested people to develop their interests or their careers within the sport. So I think once the infrastructure is given a little bit more seriousness by the Indian government or the state governments, there is a huge potential for sports or leagues to develop and stay for long in India, which means better career options for the people who are interested in being a part of said leagues or sports.
Okay, you don't think that there's also a cultural issue where in
Mhm.
India parents will favor studies, which is a good thing, huh? Of course, that they
Yes.
favor studies, the development of their kids, but the competition today is among schools. And you don't think that it may not be easy for a young boy to say to his parents that he wants to become a professional tennis player, and that today you become professional at the age of 8, 9 years old. Do you
Right.
think that it is something that will work with the Indian mentality that is really driven towards excellence at school?
I think a lot of such cases do exist in India, where parents do prefer a child to take up, education all the way through rather than pursuing a career in sports, because they feel somewhere their careers or their lives will get wasted in the
Mm.
process. But I think one way to counteract this is success stories. Success stories is something that's worked across sport globally in any given country, and that's how people get motivated to or even try to understand, that there is a genuine career that could be formed. In India, there have been enough success stories in cricket. May that be the likes of Sachin Tendulkar, who has made it big, or Virat Kohli now, who is making it big and giving a lot of children hope that yes, there is a life in the sport. There is a career that you can build. We need similar success stories coming out of India in other different sports as well. And we need multiple success stories. Given that it's a country of 1.3 billion people, even if you assume that 5% of the country has professional sports athletes being built, they need to have success stories. They need to have the infrastructure. They need to have a full ecosystem around them that supports them and their parents as well, to make them understand that there is a career that can be built, and the lives of their children will not be going to waste just by playing a sport professionally. So I think that's what's missing, that you rightly addressed earlier with the infrastructure, but also success stories that need to come out. Hence, such leagues are in a complete nascent stage right now, and it will take some time to develop the thought process, change the thought process and understanding of parents towards sport, and probably then India could be a very big sporting nation.
Yeah, because at the same time you have the potential given the number of people that you have. Um, but it's true that probably me, I see that well with Europe, the country needs to reach a certain level of development so that
Yeah.
you can make a decent living as a sport coach, because of course you have to think of the post MBA career. Most of them will finish a sport coach,
Correct.
and which is probably not the case today. So you need to reach a certain level of development probably, where
Absolutely.
people will spend are ready to spend a lot of money. I see that probably in the young generation, people are probably ready to spend money for sport to get to have access to this infrastructure. Probably it is your generation that will change the thing. But of course, for an emerging country like like India, was probably not the thing, the priority for someone like Uti. The second thing the question that I have for you, Dhruv, is that are there like sport institutes where you train the elites in India? Like me, for instance, I was a tennis player when I was young. I went to an organization called INSET, so where the best, we have a big,
Mhm.
we have several big training center, and you have all the you can expect as a future professional or sportsman. Does it exist to have like a national training center where the elite in a sport is concentrated and is being trained? It exists in India, this type of thing?
It does exist across some sports. I wouldn't say it exists for all sports, but a sport like cricket, sports like
Yeah.
football, basic track and running events for athletics, the infrastructure and the training institutes do exist. In fact, very recently, India has opened up two centers of excellence in sport in two different locations, which has been a private organization that's opened this up. And they have collaborated with some of the leading sportsmen of the country, and they are setting up the center of excellence for a variety of sports, so that they can build the next group of Olympic sportsmen in India, also build the next professional athletes of the country. So I think India is looking up on this, but currently, as per the scale that Europe provides or that
Mm.
even North America provides, India is a long way back in providing that kind of support for training infrastructure to these athletes who are amateur athletes and they want to turn professional.
Yeah, that's the
Which is
young
why a
one
lot of
to educate the young, like what we have here.
Yes,
Um,
which is why a lot of professional athletes move abroad, outside of India, to want to take up professional training for their
But
sports.
it can be a way. Huh? For instance, you see in tennis, you have to see
Oh,
that
absolutely.
countries like Serbia, like Latvia, the small countries, they send their athletes. They have agreement with Sport Federation, with the German Sport Federation of tennis, the,
Correct.
the French one, so that the athletes can be trained. But of course, it limits the number of athletes that they can train. So it is only the very very best who can be sent there. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so tell me, and now will have you inquired to see how ESADE can really help you fulfill? Because there's one thing about the potential of the country, and it's true that sport is a big thing. Okay, is a big thing, but there are also some countries. Um, but how will ESADE help? Okay, because me, I know ESADE well. So the thing that they are very strong in consulting, banking. Are they strong also in the leisure industry? They have lots of connections or not? I don't know because I did not
They
when I went to visit.
So for me, actually, the reason for looking at SRD also is the fact that I'm working in consulting right now,
Mm.
and I'm working across media, entertainment, sports, three different industries. For me, the understanding here is that at SRD, with the global, students that they get, a very diverse group of students that come in every year. There's a huge learning scope from the professors, from the students who are already there, and the students that will be coming with me in the same class. This would kind of open up my thought process as well, to understanding how different industries work and probably linking that back to sport. My idea is to find linkages between different industries to sport and understand what business propositions can come between such industries, not only within Europe, but also to probably bring that knowledge back, as you said, in 5 to 10 years time to India. So that is, I think, where ESADE will help me, given their diverse student base and their global student base that they have. And in addition to that, definitely the knowledge of consulting that ESADE already specializes in providing, say, placements with consulting firms, or even industry visits, industry projects that they have with a lot of consulting firms. It's, I think, a space of solution providing that can be opened up, which is beyond banking, beyond accounting, beyond technology, and that's something that I will probably look to learn from this course.
Okay, that's something because yes, you have to see that Spain is a country. Yes, so, the top recruiters in Spain are really consulting and and banking. Huh?
Right.
Industry is not very strong, and of course, or retail a bit. Huh? But
Mhm.
at the same time, you can work in consulting, sport and consulting, and there are many things
Yeah.
to do. And I imagine that companies like Real or Barca are very, very strong, and they are looking for people like you because because of course Asia is tomorrow's market. Okay.
Correct.
Um,
Yes.
so Dhruv, can you tell me about the admission process? So what has been the admission process for you? I know it has not been very easy. So what is it to apply to a top non-Indian business schools?
So I think what released the admission process is very clear from the very beginning. If you from the time you log on to your the university's website to understanding what is required from you as a student to provide and where you stand for that particular college, I think it's very clearly mapped out. What's very important for any applicant is to be motivated from the very beginning, and that motivation cannot drop over time. It's important to know your deadlines, to know exactly what you want to do, what story you want to provide to the college that you will offer as an incoming student for them. I think that's what's very important in the entire admissions process. Yes, there are deadlines which are clearly mapped out. There are timelines which are clearly mapped out. But I think what I had to do in my journey is work hands on, like have a very hands-on approach along with my counselor to understand where my niche lies for the college and what the college is looking for, and somewhere mapping that back to what I can provide them from the kind of experience I've had, may that be my educational experience in the past or my post graduation working experience that I've had across multiple different firms and industries. So I think that has been key to my admissions journey, and understanding that and providing that knowledge to the college as well. May that be through the essays or the interview.
Yeah. What was your GMAT score, Dhruv? I forgot. Your GMAT score was what?
So I had given the GRE,
GRE.
and my GRE score, yes, my GRE score was 314, which was 160 on verbal and 160 on quant and 154 on verbal.
Okay, so it's an okay score, and so according to you, so we can say that if ESADE has taken you, it's probably because of the variety, and because of your project. So that's something that I want to do. By the way, I interviewed Paula Morin with the head of admissions at IAC. So she told me really that for her, for Indian students, she's of course she's favoring Indian students who have experience abroad. You know, of course, an Indian student would be a bit different because there are so many engineers, so many consultants applying that they want. So many IT engineers and so many consultants applying that they want more diversity. So they're looking for Indians who have shown great leadership skills, ability to work in a team, if possible, international exposure. So really, if you're Indian and you want to come to study abroad, whether in Europe or in North America, work on your international exposure, okay, because the competition is less. Okay, you have to see that today 35% to 60% of the applicants at top business schools are Indians, and they take 10%. So it means that it is extremely difficult. Because usually I would say that
yes,
at Harvard, 5% of the applicants are French, and they take 5%. Okay, so basically it's difficult. Okay, so it means that when you're Indian, it's probably three to 6 times more difficult. So that's why the GMAT or the GRE is important. Now we can see that as with the 314, you see got in, so it means that there is room. Also, be careful when you apply to schools. It's easier to get a US program in general than a European program, in that European business schools are pretty small. The one that you have heard about are between 200 to 400 students. Only in SEAD or IE have between 400 to 1,000 students. European programs are pretty small. European business schools are small.
right. Yes.
So when you consider, for instance, school like IAC, rank in the top 10 in the world, it takes 30 Indians per year. Okay, ESADE probably 20 to 25. It's very limited when you consider the number of Indians that you have. So of course you have to do everything to stand out, but unfortunately the score is not enough. When you're French, you have a 750 and you apply to the top 3 best European MBAs and the top 7 US program. Even if your profile is not outstanding, you get 5 out of 10. Okay, when you're Indian, you can get 0. Okay. So so that's the way it is. But don't worry, we'll make it. So for you, Dhruv, we took 2 years to apply, and you will apply on year one, huh? And then you have we apply on year two. Am I right? Yes, we have
Yes. Yes. Correct.
interest.
Correct. Correct.
So that's another thing that you know that this center will not let you down. If it doesn't work, we'll rework with you to make sure
Absolutely.
that you get in. We'll not ask you for extra money. You have paid us once. To give you an idea, one day the
I think
pandemic.
that was one of the reasons I also picked MBA Center, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we need.
Yeah, we
I
make
think
sure that you
every
get in. And
student.
ESADE is a good
Yes.
school. And ESADE, you're very happy it's a good school. So what I want to say
Absolutely.
is that one day there's a student in Nyack. I remember that, so we apply in 1 year, we apply to 24 schools. 24 schools.
24 schools.
And we got two.
It's quite
Yeah,
good.
we got IE and IE, we got IE Imperial and City University. We got 3 out of 24. And we applied round 1, we got nothing, round 2, got nothing, round 3. So it's 124, it's a bit too much. But yes, we will apply. And plus, you have to understand that at the end, we can reuse a lot of what we have written. It's not the end of the world. Okay, but we will not let you down, especially because at MBA Center we have some of the coaches that we have are on salary. So anyway, that's why I want to have like 4 or 5 coaches on salary full time, so that they can take care of my students if there's any problem.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So I will probably visit you when I am in because I visit ESADE once a year. Okay, so we'll have an opportunity to take pictures. I don't know if you follow, by the way, my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn.
Yes, I'm already connected with you on LinkedIn.
And you've
Yes.
seen that, for instance, I am now in Spain,
Right.
with MBA Center, and I've taken pictures of about 10 different students that I will display all over this weekend and next year and next week. Okay, voilà. So I wish you a very good day, and thank you. Now, basically, to what are the ultimate piece of advice that you will give to Indian applicants? Okay.
Yeah, I think just to sum it up, I'll give a couple of points to the students who are currently there, that they need to be engaged and motivated through and through the entire admissions process. It's a grueling process. It really requires your full attention. So and the motivation cannot drop along the way. So that's point number one, which I always stand by. The support is given by MBA Center through and through. So that's something they shouldn't be worried about, that will the support come, will the support not come? The support is always there at any given point of time, through the coaches, through you, through your team as well. So that's something that I have experienced myself, so I can definitely say it. That at any given point of time, if I was facing a challenge, if I was facing an issue, someone was always available to get in touch with and help figure out a solution to the problem that I was facing. And lastly, I think it's very important to focus on the GMAT, the GRE, whichever exam assessment test that they're giving, because that's something that lays a very good base. And to tell their story honestly and truthfully to the university, because I think everyone has a unique story to tell. Everyone has a niche that they've occupied, and they can always try and work that in their favor for the business school or for the degree that they're applying for, and probably make a very strong case for themselves in the process for their admission journey.
Yes, exactly. So basically, it's true. And I'm going to say something that I don't want to say. We didn't lie with Dhruv, and what we said the truth. But you have to make up a story. We make up a story.
Yeah. But build it well. I think the idea is to build a good story.
Yeah, but then we tell a good story. For instance, we gave an idea yesterday. I was with 2 consultants, and we said that they would work for an NGO 3 months before starting the MBA. They will not do so, but we have put that because we believe that it sells well. So
I think the idea, as you rightly said, is to build a good story at the end of the day, something that even the university would really be. Yeah.
So Dhruv, it was very nice to have you. I will write a post about you with your contact information. Right. So don't hesitate if people want to know more, because I have 16,000 followers, so they will probably revert to you. So and Indians are curious, and Indians like to see what other Indians are doing, and as you know, they also want to go abroad. So they will ask you for a piece of information. Thank you very much. It was nice to see you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Dr. Hubert. Thank you.